Welcome. This is your host, Dub FFG, with the Fantasy Football GOAT Strategies. How was your week 3? Was it good? Was it bad? Did you win? Did you lose? If you like me, on my 2 leagues only, I went had 1-1. Won 1, lost 1. So it wasn't too bad. Even in the loss that I took, it came down to the Monday night, and it was pretty close. I needed Devontae Smith to have just an average night. Didn't even need to be a big night. Maybe about 4 to 5 catches, about 80 yards. That would have put me over the top. And of course, he didn't do that. And then especially if you'd had a touchdown, that would have really put me over the top. So, but anyway, we're gonna move forward and we're gonna recap a little bit of week 3 and go into week 4. So let's get to it. At the conclusion of week 3 brings about week 4. That conclusion of week 3 brings about in search of peace from week 4 on. Why? Because there are several factors that conclusion brought about that put a light bulb in your head if it didn't go off already. But it definitely should have went off at the conclusion of week 3. And what are those? Joy or pain? You have the joy of winning or the agony of pain and defeat. So now you know the team that you have. You know currently what you have. If you're able to pick somebody up off waiver wire this week, like the backup running back for Carolina, great. Good stuff. That'll be good for you because it'll be very serviceable for you for the amount of time that Christian McCaffrey is out. But if you weren't able to pick anybody up, now, like I said, there are certain adjustments you still have to make. The conclusion of week 3 told you exactly who you are right now, 2021 fantasy football owner. So you can either stay the course or you can blow it up. Your choice. Let's get further into it. Option 1, going forward. Trade. You can simply offer trade because right now, even in my leagues that I'm in, and seeing them across the board, across social media, fantasy lines, that guys are putting certain people up for trade release. They're marketing them as being tradable. Big names. Ezekiel Elliott. That's one that I saw earlier. George Kittle. Again, big names, but maybe not quite as productive as in the first 3 weeks thus far. But again, marathon, not a sprint. Go back and look at those earlier videos that I did talking about the top 5 fantasy running backs for 2021. That's going to help you. Go back and look at the DNA of fantasy football champions. That's going to help you. So again, marathon, not a sprint. Keep that in mind. But if you have a big name and that big name has not performed, add another player to it and offer a trade for what you want or what you need, more importantly. Offer a trade for, I'm offering 2, but I'm hoping to get 3. Or I'm offering 3, but I'm hoping to get 2. And always keep in mind that additional, if you're offering a big name +1, that +1 is just more so an add-in, a throw-in. And if you're offering 3 or you're getting 3, that last one is, again, just a throw-in. Somebody's just trying to get rid of something or just to make the trade look more balanced. And a lot of times it's not. People like to say there's a win-win. Not as much. There are such things as win-wins, but most of the time somebody's taking a loss and somebody's taking a win. So let's continue. Option 2, dumpster diving. That means you gotta hit the waiver wire, and you gotta hit the waiver wire hard. So again, I mentioned the backup to Christian McCaffrey, that Hubbard. He's definitely should have been available if you haven't picked him up already. I actually looked out and some people still hadn't picked him up. So it was like, wow, okay. Because again, using Mike Davis from last year for the Panthers, even when CMC went out, he wasn't what CMC was, but he still had very, very good fantasy value. So the guy, Hubbard, who's quicker and faster than Davis, should be very serviceable for your fantasy team. So if he's out there, go get him. With no hesitation, go get him. Drop somebody. Because again, you're looking at somebody like Elijah Mitchell, who hasn't quite performed. He had a big week 1 and hasn't quite lived up to it since then. So you can trade him out. Devin Singletary, still another one. He's a starter for the Bills, but he hasn't quite lived up to potential thus far. He may have some breakout games coming up, but right now, if you're hurting, you gotta make some changes, and you gotta make some drastic changes. And there are 3 positions that make up big points. The first one is that defensive team, that defensive special teams. So if you got a defensive special team, and the Cowboys defense special team was probably hot off the wire coming off the week 3's conclusion, because people are finally starting to see what I talked about earlier in the season, in the preseason, that defense is young and aggressive and talented. They're not afraid. They're coming out saying, hey, we are who we are, and we're going to be something great. So that's the approach that they're having. So even like Denver's a defensive team. They're probably off the waiver wire in most cases, but if it's still out there, go get them. Denver, even Miami may still be out there. The Miami is not necessarily a stop and all out balling defense, but what they do is they get turnovers. So of course, turnovers help a lot in fantasy football. So Miami may give up 20 plus points, but they may have 3 turnovers, and one of them may be a pick 6 and a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Again, those are just examples, but go back and listen to the top 5 fantasy football defenses for 2021 that I did earlier as well. So a lot of gems have been dropped all the way up to this point to help you out. So this is just a continuation. So defensive special teams will definitely help you make up some grounds and points. So get some, particularly that gets turnovers. Next one's quarterbacks. There are some quarterbacks that may still be out there. Again, Taylor Heineke, I saw, is still available a lot. Even someone like a Mac Jones. Yeah, Mac didn't have a good week last year, but coming up this week against Tom Brady and against Tampa Bay, they're gonna, on paper, it looks to be a nightmare matchup. But again, sometimes you take in inspiration. Sometimes you take in elevation of destination, if there's such a thing. So he's looking to look better and he's going to be looking to be great. So he's going to make some mistakes, but at the same time, he's going to succeed. And you can bet that Bill Belichick is going to put him in a situation to succeed, particularly Sunday night. So if he's there, you might want to grab him. Next, get some flex players. Flex players that are high target players. They may not necessarily have the numbers, but look at their target. Look at their targets and look at where their opponent ranks against that particular position. Again, running backs, tight ends, receivers. Flex players that have high targets. Again, maybe not necessarily productive just yet. Again, we've only completed 3 weeks out of an 18 week season. So we got a long way to go. But those are the ones that make up those big points. Defensive special teams, quarterbacks, and flex players with high targets. Next, option 3, stay the course. That's simply if you're winning, you're above 500, your team looks to be great, looks to be pretty much on point, your draft was good, your adjustments you made off the waiver wire, or even if you've traded this early, just stay the course. But still make slight necessary adjustments. Again, look at the waiver wire to solidify your bench, to make your bench more solid. Because again, remember, your studs are eventually going to go on buys. Everybody's going on buy, but definitely your studs. You want to make sure that when they're on their buy, you got valuable replacements. So again, stay the course if you're in a good spot, but don't be blinded by just, okay, I'm good right now, because again, this is 18-week season, 17 games. That hey, you're going to have to make some adjustments somewhere. You can't just go on autopilot. You can do it for a couple of weeks or so, but you have to make adjustments. And again, that's pretty much in summary. You're in search of peace. You're in search of peace because, again, week 3 is telling you who you are. Your team may not be as great as you once thought it was, as you believed to be in the preseason when you drafted. So make trades, go dumpster diving, or stay the course. Whichever one fits you, if all 3 fits you, that's another thing. So stay the course, dumpster dive, trade, in search of peace. This is your host, Dub FFG, your fantasy football GOAT strategist. Thank you for listening. Till next time. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. Thanks.